All right, well, a good Monday to you. Thanks for finding us here at Fox 26. I'm meteorologist John Dawson. This is your tropical update, and we've been talking about a potential system, something that we think is going to form, something that we know is going to form. We just don't know exactly what it will be or exactly where it will go, but we're beginning to get a little bit of a better idea of how this is all going to unfold, although we're still in the potential discussions where it hasn't quite formed yet. This will be all the latest information. If you happen to be catching this not live, this is going to be Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. So that's our information that we're working with right now. Again, if you're live, fantastic. This is still very fresh and still kind of digesting and seeing exactly all the minor changes that have been happening with this particular update. But we'll continue to kind of dive into things a little bit. If you remember, down in the far western portions of the Caribbean, we've been watching a very unorganized, a very elongated low pressure system, and that's still what we have. There's still no closed low pressure system. There's still no really organization to the showers and the storms, but all of it's beginning to get a little bit, just a little bit, more organized, and the expectations are still very much there that it's going to become something that's going to be a problem for a lot of folks in the southeastern portions of the United States. So we're going to kind of dive into things. I know we have a lot of international viewers that check in with us across the Caribbean, so we're glad you're here. We know there's a big audience as well all along the Gulf Coast, and of course here in Southeast Texas and Houston, we've got a lot of folks that are watching, whether it be on Fox Local or whether it be YouTube or, of course, just fox26houston.com. So we're wanting to really make sure we all kind of get the picture here and we're all able to sort of see what happens. Here again is that big area of showers and storms. We could kind of pinpoint the most specific area that we can right now. And again, the National Hurricane Center has identified this as potential Tropical Cyclone 9 because it is not quite a tropical cyclone yet by definition, but we're able to kind of see those forecasts for it. And we'll begin with our spaghetti plots. We'll cram in a bunch of these computer models together, and notice we're going to take it right between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba. And now it looks like it wants to head a little bit more dead centered on the panhandle of Florida. That's kind of where we're looking at that happening right now. I'll go ahead and give you the latest from the Hurricane Center. Again, they're sort of just giving it that generic 35-mile-an-hour winds, probably not even really consistent with that as far as what's happening with that disorganized mess that's down there right now. But this again is that 4 o'clock update, and they're able to kind of put into effect those forecast products from the National Hurricane Center once they label this as a potential tropical cyclone. So that's why they do this, so they are able to label it. It is expected, though, because it's so close to reaching that status of a tropical storm, that within the next 24 hours, probably on Tuesday morning, we'll have a tropical storm with max winds at 40 miles an hour, and then this will strengthen to a strong tropical storm as it makes its way through the passage there between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba and gets into the Gulf of Mexico. And the 4 o'clock update now has this becoming a major hurricane before it makes landfall into Florida. The threshold there between a Category 2 and a Category 3 hurricane is 110 to 111. So once it gets to 111 mile an hour sustained winds, that's when it becomes a Category 3, and that's what we refer to as a major hurricane. So at this point, we are expecting that 115 mile an hour winds at landfall somewhere. Again, we're going to try to focus as best we can on this entire forecast cone this early on, this early without having an actual closed low pressure system. We really need to not focus on that center point. We need to look at this whole area. Remember, this is not an impact cone. This cone is a forecast cone. Where do we expect the center of the storm to be? And when we look at Thursday in the afternoon right now, this is where our expectations are located, pretty much headed into the panhandle of Florida. These waters are so warm. This is why we're going to see that growth happen quite quickly. Probably going to see that rapid intensification taking place where it's going to go from a tropical storm all the way up to a Category 3 hurricane in a very short amount of time. And that warm waters are really going to be the main reason for that. When we take a look at our expected rainfall, remember, of course, the heaviest of rain is always just to the east, or in this case, just to the right of where the center will be traveling. So you can see these heavy rainfall amounts are going to be hanging to the right or the center of this storm. This is through Sunday. Notice all the way up through Georgia and into the Carolinas, expecting some heavy rainfall, where this is most likely going to be named Helene, and Helene is going to be making impacts all across the southeast U.S., not just the state of Florida. So looking at some of the steering components on really what's kind of happening here, we've got a couple upper level systems, a low pressure one that's going to be, this is on Thursday, so these aren't current locations of this low pressure and this high pressure. This is, again, a forecasted locations. And tropical cyclones, hurricanes, they're big, they're powerful, they can do a lot of damage, but generally speaking, they would rather just kind of go the path of least resistance. They don't always like to just try to barrel through the center of a cold front or an upper level low or a high pressure system that's in the upper levels of the atmosphere. They're going to kind of travel around and just find the easiest way to go. That's my terminology. That's what I like to say about a system like this. So when you see this low pressure system, this cyclone that's formed in the Gulf of Mexico, the positioning of this high pressure and the positioning of this low pressure are key in the steering of where this is going to go. So as we see our computer models change around just a little bit here or there over the next 48 hours, especially over the next 48 hours, we're going to expect to see some changes. It's going to have a lot to do with what are the expectations of this high pressure system? What are the expectations of this low pressure system? And then the hurricane will follow. That's what will happen. It will follow kind of that path of least resistance. So that's something that we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on. Always something that we're really focused on is our Fox model. This is an exclusive model just to the Fox companies, so all your local Fox TV stations, and of course Fox Weather is going to have this available to them, and it's going to match pretty close to what the National Hurricane Center has going, but it's going to show that rotation, to show the storms starting to get more symmetrical around that low. If we do see more interaction with Cuba or more interaction with the Yucatan, that could slow this growth down just a little bit. That would be a good thing. We're hoping this doesn't blow up into a even stronger than Category 3 storm. But if it slips right through the middle, we are expecting at least a Category 3, and then we see that track back to the north here, and I think we're going to go ahead and pause our model to show that when we get to Wednesday, we're looking at a hurricane, possibly even a Category 2 by the time we get to Wednesday. All right, a couple things just to kind of let you know about that. We've pretty much wrapped up our discussion here. Helene is the next name on the list, and right now all expectations are that what is down in the Caribbean will become Helene, because we think it will be the next named storm. Isaac would be the name after that. But what I do want to let you know about is out in the Atlantic, and this is way out in the Atlantic, really close to the African coastline. There's a tropical wave that's coming off of the Africa coast here, and we're looking at a 70% chance that it could develop into a tropical system. So whether it happens after the potential Tropical Cyclone 9 or whether it might happen before, it's kind of a little bit of a race for those next two names. So expectations are right now, Helene will be the one in the Caribbean, and then this would end up being Isaac out in the Atlantic. But we just sort of have to let time unfold a little bit and see which one actually ends up getting those tropical cyclone characteristics first, because it's first come, first serve when it comes to using those names on the list. So I just want to let you know, if you start hearing about an Isaac, most likely that's going to be the one out here in the Atlantic. But double check, make sure they didn't kind of get swapped out, and Isaac ends up being, you know, the one in the Caribbean. Although right now, again, we do expect that it would be Helene that would be that next one that's forming out into the Caribbean. All right, thanks again for checking in with us here with our Fox Tropical Update.